Hello, this is Bob Gray Sr. Welcome to Ministry Moments. Every Friday, Lord willing, at 3 o'clock Central Time, we'll be with you and talk about various parts of the ministry. And it's not strictly for pastors, it's for anyone who is serious about serving the Lord. And so just some thoughts sometimes from week to week as I travel and preach. Questions come up and sometimes emails and text messages. And so I try to do my best to answer every one. If you do that, please understand I travel a lot, and sometimes it may take me a while to get back to you. But today, I want you to get your pen out. I want to talk to you about baptizing children. In the last generation, the great men of God of the past, who Lee Robertson and Lester Roloff and Jack Hiles and Tom Malone, all of them were tremendous men of integrity. They were great leaders, but they had great love. And there was a love that for the unsaved and the fallen that few men have ever really known. In fact, I think that's one reason we don't have the great men of God today, or the great church builders of today like we've had in the past, because it takes an awful lot of love to be able to, for example, what we're talking about today, to be able to reach children. A bus ministry is not easy to do. If there's not love there, if you don't love these young people, then it's difficult. Bus kids are funny, and I'd rather preach to them than dumb adults anyway, to be honest with you. Let me give you a couple scriptures. Matthew 18:11, Matthew 18:11, and Luke 19:10. So I'll give you two verses here, and let me read them to you. Matthew 18, for the Son of Man has come to save that which was lost. Okay, that's Matthew 18:11. Luke 19:10, for the Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which was lost. You say, well, what's the difference between the two? Well, in Matthew 18, I call that the children's chapter. He talks about who's the greatest in the kingdom of God, and Jesus called a little child unto him and set him in the midst of them. He was answering their question by bringing that little bus kid or chariot kid, if you please, and put him in front of them. And so then he summed it up by saying at the end, but the Son of Man has come to save that which is lost, referring to the children. Now, in Luke 19, Zacchaeus, you know the story about Zacchaeus, and I call this the adult chapter. In Luke 19:10, it says this, for the Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which was lost. Now, there's a word, and there's no mistakes in our Bibles. There's a word there, the word seek. When it comes to adults, you have to seek. I call them dumb adults, but you have to seek them. When I talk to a kid, I never have a kid look up and say, hey, is that the Westcott and the Hort of those Texas Receptus you got there? No, that doesn't happen from kids. Kids are just so innocent and so willing, and we need to get to them before they lose their innocence too, by the way, and those tender hearts. That's the good ground that's mentioned about the sowing of the seed. There's no complication there. They're just kids, and they'll flock to you. I was leading a mom and a daughter to Christ this week, and when I started to open the Bible up, all of a sudden, kids, their 4 or 5 nieces and nephews, just swarmed on us, and all of a sudden, I was completely surrounded. So I had to change my sowing and presentation from the adult level down to the child level, and so I did. I turned around. I asked the mom. I said, and the aunt, can I talk to the children about how they can know they're going to heaven? And both the aunt and the mom said, well, certainly, preacher, you can. And she gave me permission. So I knelt down, and a very simple matter led them to Christ. I talked about how when we do wrong, that's called sin in the Bible. Anyway, I explained the gospel on their level. And then when I got done, I looked up at the aunt and the mom, and I said, did that make sense? And they said, well, yes, that did make sense. And I said, well, can I pray with everyone? And they said, absolutely. And the mom's name was Linda. And she said, yes, Pastor, you can. And so I prayed. And then I gave them opportunity to invite Christ in. And I explained, prayer does not save. Prayer is just words. Jesus does the saving. But anyway, it was sweet. And that day was a great gift. So we had 10 saved altogether. Led a business owner to Christ and one of his workers to Christ. And he stopped all his operations right there and listened. And it was just absolutely wonderful. So that's kind of provokes the thought here a little bit. We had 42 or 47 buses. It depended, how they break down, and we ran almost 40 routes and all over the area, and would do it again in a heartbeat. It precipitates, it helps, it pushes, it pulls at your heart. And you've got to be prepared for it. But let me talk to you about winning and baptizing children. Can I do that? Winning and baptizing children. I'll put the emphasis on the baptism on this particular ministry moments. Number one, go 2 by 2. Don't ever go out alone. I would have an identification card from the church. I think all the bus workers should have that. I think it protects you. It protects the and provides an opportunity for you to present the gospel. So go 2 by 2, have a name tag saying where you represent the church that you're a member of and the bus ministry you're a member of. Number 2, ask parents permission to talk to the children. Ask permission from the parents to talk to the children in their presence. That's what I did this week. I said to Linda was the mom and then the aunt, and I said, can I talk to the children? And they both gave permission to talk to them. It's always safer that way. Number 3, win them to Christ in their presence. Carefully go through it. I did it in a very simplistic manner, but I led them to Christ in the presence of the parents to explain just exactly what the Bible said that we have to do in order to be saved from going to hell and go to heaven when we die. And it was so sweet because the mom, Linda, and the aunt both prayed. Then the children all prayed, invited Jesus in their heart, and it was just sweet. Number 3, win them to Christ in their presence. Don't get them off to the side. You do it in their presence. Several reasons for that. Number 1, they'll know that you carefully went through it. Next thing is it gives you an opportunity to win the adults to Christ. And so it works if you'll do that. That way, it's not anything secretive. It's not something you're doing that they're not aware that you are doing. So, number 1, go 2 by 2. I would get a lanyard. I would put it around my neck, make sure that it identified me. I think that's very important. Number 2, ask parents permission to talk to the children in their presence. Number 3, win them to Christ in their presence. Number 4, use simplistic words. Bring it down to their level. I found this out. If I bring it down to their level, I know the adults will understand it too. So down on their level. Next, have a permission slip for the parents to sign. Once they're through praying and say, look, we come by here. You've probably seen our bus come by here every week. We come by every week, and we conduct Sunday school for the children. And we teach them morals, and we teach them what the Bible says about how to live the right kind of a life. Now, you're putting that on the level that they will understand, but then have a permission slip that says, yes, I give permission for them to ride the bus. That way, you are covered in the fact that parental guidance is there for you. Next, explain this is very important here. Explain you are a Baptist church and give opportunities for those who are saved to be baptized. It says right on here, ma'am, we are a Baptist church. And so being a Baptist church, we're going to preach the gospel. We're going to have Sunday school, have church, and then we're going to give an invitation. And those who bow their head and pray, like what happened just here, and they invite Christ in, they're going to walk down the aisle. And we're going to, because we are a Baptist church, we're going to give them an opportunity to be baptized. Now, ma'am, we want you to know that, and we don't want to do anything to harm your children at all. But if you don't mind, if you'll give us permission, if they walk the aisle and they want, and saying that we're going to make them do anything, but if they hear it and they say, I'd like to do that, we won't without your permission. So I want to make sure I've got your permission. If they do get saved or make professions of faith, that we do baptize. We are a Baptist church. And I have very rarely had somebody say no, honestly, very rarely. Number 8, get their written permission, not just to ride the bus and come, but get their written permission on this matter of the possibility that they might want to be baptized. Next, do not baptize without written permission. Don't do it. It ought to be a cardinal rule. You do not baptize without written permission. Get the written permission. And then you have the right then to do that. Number 10, it's the last point. Aren't you proud of me? If they walk the aisle at the invitation time, call for their bus captain to come where the child is. When you give an invitation, there'll be some adults come, there'll be families come, and everyone. But when a bus kid walks down the aisle, and either in the main auditorium or one of the children's churches, whatever, and they walk down the aisle, you don't take another, you get their name down, get their address down. Profession of faith is fine, but don't make another move until you say, what bus, sweetheart? And usually we have them right on their hand, A, B, C, D, but let's say A12 bus route. I would look down, and it's on the clipboard down front, and the lady, the invitation, the altar, the name taker will turn it, and she'll look A12. Okay, that's Brother So-and-so's route. Well, then I'll get one of the ushers. Would you get Brother So-and-so? He'll come down, and I say, this is Johnny. Does Johnny ride your bus? Yes, he does. And does Johnny have permission? He wants to be baptized. Does Johnny have written permission from his parents? Well, then whoever it is, they would look through their book. And if they had it, they would say yes. If they don't, they would say no. Then after that, if they say no, then we have the bus captain go by and talk to the parents that afternoon and say, this is what Johnny did. Johnny trusted Christ this morning. Or Johnny came down and asked about baptism, but Mom, we're here to ask you if it's all right. And then that way, I would use that as an opportunity to get the mother and dad to come. I would say, look, why don't you come, and we'll take a picture, and we'll give you a copy of that picture, and be there for your son's baptism. Now, we do that when we don't have permission. So we say, not only give us permission, but we will wait until you come and be with them so that you can enjoy this together as a family. Well, that's winning and baptizing children. The bus ministry, when the bus ministry was really humming in America, and we had a love for children and a love for those that were lost. When that happened, let me tell you something, it was wonderful. It was wonderful what went on. It was wonderful. We had great church growth. We were reaching adults as well as children, and it was fabulous. So that's our ministry moments for this week. And go to solvechurchproblems.com and subscribe. You'll get daily ministry ideas. You'll get Q&A in there. There's a weekly blog in there. There are taped sermons from way back in 1980 when I first came from Texas. We started putting all those, starting the very first Sunday that I was here when I preached on hope. Let's see. I think that's about it. Independent Baptist Online College. Oh, please go there. If you've not enrolled, enroll. If you've not finished, finish. It's going to bother you. Please do so. Please finish. And we've got the best faculty in the world. No less than 20 years experience in their ministry field. We'll help you. We'll help you. And then make sure you go to BreamPublications.com for all of my books and all of the latest books. And those are fundamental writers and authors, and you'll not go wrong by doing that. Well, God bless you. Thank you for being part of Ministry Moments. And we'll see you next Friday, Lord willing, at 3:00 Central Time.